All right, babe. Yes. Beautiful. So we're going to talk about the place command just means go to your bed, lay there, and stay there until you've been told otherwise. We're also going to be talking about how to utilize leash pressure. So how I like to use the leash essentially is anytime you've said a command, that leash pressure will then turn on. You're going to start utilizing your leash to back up your verbal commands. So I don't want you to have to repeat things over and over again. Now instead, when you say the command, the leash is going to be doing the rest of the talking for you. Essentially, that leash pressure isn't going to turn off until the dog follows through with what you're asking. Now, I like to start with the place command because it's really clear and easy for the dog to understand. There's something visual for them to associate with them being on and the leash pressure turning off. And this is exactly what we were doing the first couple of days. Now, she has already eaten quite a bit. Chances are high she's going to stop eating on me here in a second, but we can still talk about how to utilize our markers around that as well. That's just how we're indicating to her that we're about to give her a reward. So, babe, place. I issue the command. My leash pressure turns on, and right there, as soon as she gets all the way flat into the bed, that's when my leash pressure turns off. That is the final picture for the place command. Now here, good timing. If she breaks out of the position before we've asked her to, all we're gonna do, beautiful, is turn that leash pressure back on. I'm not saying no, I'm not repeating the command over and over again, especially at this point in the training. I'm just using this as an opportunity to kind of test her understanding of how to be responding to the leash. If she's up standing, that leash pressure turns back on. As soon as she flattens back down, that pressure turns off. Now, in order to do multiple reps of this is where the markers come into play. We want her to stay on this bed until she hears that magic word. The first marker that we're going to be talking about is just YES, and that just allows her out of position and she can come get a reward from your hand. So if she's right here in place, I'm going to say yes, back up a little bit, and offer some food. And she takes it. There we go. Good girl. A little slow on the take, but that's okay. We'll go for it. And then now that she's off of the bed, we can just rinse and repeat what we were doing before. I'm going to say that place command. I'm going to turn on my leash pressure and keep it there until she gets all the way flat on the bed. Babe, place. Pressure's on. Whoop, she got a little too far. So here we can reincorporate the food. This was how I was getting her here in the first place, was just a lot of food luring into that position and off. As soon as she gets there, that's when that pressure turns off. Yes. And we can just rinse and repeat. Keep rocking and rolling like that. There you go. You spit that out, it kind of happens. She only has so many opportunities to reward throughout the day. So it happens when I go to record the video that she stops eating on me. But I'm still going to start talking about how to utilize these markers even if she's not eating. Okay? Babe, place. Beautiful, nice. Now the amount of pressure I'm using, it's really not much. I'm holding this with 2 fingers and just adding enough tension so that the leash is taut. I'm not adding so much pressure, obviously, that she can't breathe. I am giving a little bit of directional guidance towards the bed, but then other than that, I'm not doing too much with that leash pressure. I'm just trying to stay consistent with that pressure will remain on until you get to the bed. I'm not trying to add any more while she's walking there, just keeping it the same pressure, okay? Yes. So I'm going to try one more time, offering a piece of food, and yep, she blew me off. So now this is what I'll do if I'm like working a dog and the dog stops eating. I'm not going to necessarily stop training right away. I'll just put the food away. I'm going to stop offering all the time because I know that she's kind of not really taking it. But we can keep doing reps of this and just utilize a different marker. Place, leash pressure turns on. Wait for her to get all the way flat. And off. There we go. So now allowing the dog a moment to think about how to respond to the leash pressure. There was some moments there where she was kind of stopping to itch, maybe thinking about other things. And that's normal in this process, especially now that I no longer have the food in my hands to be able to lure and reinforce all the stuff I'm asking for. I'm just kind of doing it now because she understands what we're asking for via the leash. But I lose out on some of that motivation value. What I'm doing here by just continuing to do reps like this, free, is just truthfully to get her more in that working mindset. Place. She is not used to working for her food or really having to like put in much effort to get access to anything that she finds rewarding, meaning like she gets free pets, she gets access to places in your apartment without having to work for it much. So her mentality truthfully is like, okay, like he'll give up eventually. I don't have to try so hard, and really I'm just going to stay as consistent as possible. You saw that rep there. She was still kind of sitting. She was just thinking about how to respond to that leash pressure. I'm not adding more. I'm not raising my voice or getting upset. I'm just giving her time to think about it. As soon as she finds the right answer, though, my timing of when that leash pressure turns off, that is a pretty important part, because she starts to understand that when I follow through with what he's asking, that's how I turn off that leash pressure effectively. So now free is just my neutral release marker. I'm not going to pay you with any kind of food, but freedom is the reward. So she's allowed out of position whenever I say free. And again, this just allows me to do reps on and off of the bed. Babe, place. Pressure turns on. And off. Free. Place. Beautiful. Free. Place. Free. Place. Beautiful. So just because she stopped taking food, that doesn't mean I still can't continue to treat this as an opportunity to show her how to follow the leash pressure. Yes, I want her to be more motivated through this process. Yes, I want her to be taking food while training, but she's a tiny dog. Like the amount of times I can reward her throughout the day honestly are quite limited considering how small she is. So the amount of time that I have with her, I'm going to maximize that as much as I can. I'm never being like super forceful with things that I'm asking, but it's just the consistency that is key. The dog picks up on your amount of follow through that, okay, he said place, and even though, you know, there's no food around and there's a lot of distractions in the environment, he's going to hold me accountable because that's what he's done, you know, hundreds and hundreds of times in the past. And that's really all that is about creating reliable commands, is having an effective way to follow through. So around place, utilizing for right now just our leash, eventually it's also going to be our e-collar. This is how we're holding her accountable to place. We can eventually get to fancier things where we are dropping the leash and starting to move away. If she gets out of position at this point, I would just go over, grab the leash, and then guide her back. I could use that as an opportunity to say no when she leaves the bed, but right now we're just working on longer and longer durations in the bed, and truthfully just getting more excited about the training process itself. Because she is, hi sweet girl, she is just so not used to having to work for things in general. Even for like moments like this, I like to finish a lot of my training sessions with just a moment of praise, and that I know is something that she values, because she'll do that when I stop petting and she's kind of like, wait, that was nice, can you come back and give me some more of that? And that's just a nice positive way to end things, even if she's not taking a ton of food from me. Good girl. All done.